Oh, great.
Well, welcome to the show.
Oh, hi, this is Chris Riddell, Granite City Grocery. Nice to talk to you, Eric.
Nice to talk to you as well. We've been following the story of Granite City Grocery for a while here. It's really exciting. So it's our pleasure to have you on the show.
So do you?
Great, happy to be here.
So we provided the viewers with a little bit of kind of the background of where Granite City Grocery has been thus far. But so what's the latest news out of and what's the latest stuff that's kind of on your plate as you move this project forward?
Sure. Yeah. Well, we've been a little bit about how we've been only at this a little over a year, which is it's a little surprising when I look back and see that a little over a year ago was an idea that a couple of people had, and now at this point we are currently at 350 owners. Those are the folks who have committed money for shares and completed owner agreements.
Wow.
And we only started collecting shares and really getting owners as a formal process towards the middle of July. So in a little over 2 months, we've turned over half of our pledges into owners, and we get new ownerships every day. It's great. And it's actually developmentally right where we want to be. We've crossed the threshold with 300 owners from sort of the organizational phase and into more of the formal feasibility stage. And what that indicates to us is that there we have a critical mass of people that think this is a good enough idea to commit to, and it's letting us move forward into actually evaluating sites and doing the financial sort of due diligence that we need to do to make sure that indeed it's going to be a feasible business idea.
So now that you guys have that kind of critical mass of members, what are the sort of next few steps? You mentioned site. Kind of what are sort of what's the immediate future looking like for you guys?
Well, there's a couple of things. One thing I do want to plug is the fact that we're having our first owner meeting. So our first annual meeting is a next milestone for us. It's going to be happening in mid-November, and we're going to have our first board elections. The board that's currently sitting was self-appointed as part of incorporating as a cooperative, and we are going to be holding our first elections for 11 board slots. So that is another developmentally big milestone for us. It's the shift from a cooperative in name to one of the principles in terms of a democratic organization, a cooperative in action. So that's big for us.
And how are you guys running the election?
Go ahead. Sorry.
So you've got 11 seats open, and you're sort of actively encouraging members to run. Is the election going to happen sort of at the annual at this meeting that's coming up, or are you going to have an extended balloting period? How's the election going to be run?
Well, we have a nominating committee that's been appointed by the board that will be collecting applications from owners who want to be considered as nominees for the board. And those applications will be available on October 11th. And basically, it's letting people tell a little bit about themselves, why they want to run for the board, Granite City Grocery. And then the nominating committee will be there are no owners on there who are considering running. They'll be coordinating, gathering those names, and meeting with the candidates as a group just to sort of let them know a little bit more about what's involved, how it works. And then, yes, the idea is that we'll have a slate of candidates by October 28th. We'll send out our annual meeting, our official notification on the 29th, and it'll include a ballot. And people will have from then until November 15th to complete the ballot, either mail it in or bring it with them sealed in an envelope to the annual meeting. So it's pretty exciting.
That is really exciting. I've been really struck by how some of the folks that started this idea have really reached out to the community and tried to sort of incorporate everyone into the vision. So, sort of along those lines, have you seen interest in the community? Like, what's the community response been?
Well, it's been, frankly, I'm overwhelmed by the response. And I think part of that is because of the intentionality we've had to make this a truly community-owned endeavor. And we've met at, Barry has a couple of senior housing developments. We've had 2 meetings in our senior housing developments. We have several owners who live there. We have people who live downtown, folks who are connected as participants in programs at Community Action at Central Vermont, who's been a big partner in helping us hold conversations. And we have people who, are living in Barry or around Barry who currently shop at Hunger Mountain Co-op, so they're really in it for, the idea of a market that carries natural products that would be in Barry. And then we've got people who, honestly are looking for access to fresh food downtown and a connecting point for lots of people, to meet in the community. So I think we're doing pretty well along those lines. We definitely, one thing that we're, working on, and we're trying to encourage someone on, board members to think about, particularly someone maybe from these communities who would want to run, is how can we continue to make sure that we're as accessible as possible to people for whom, financial, the barrier of committing to a share financially might be a hindrance. And that's sort of a difficult proposition when you're trying to capitalize a retail store at the same time that you're trying to build the cooperative as an organization. But we're really committed to trying to figure out how to do that. And we've had, between payment plans and some other ideas that we've come up with, we're starting to broaden that pool too of owners.
So once the you're having this board election and you'll have your first democratically elected board of directors. Once they're in office and rolling along, what are the big things that will be on their plate kind of in the coming months?
Sure. So in the next 3 to 6 months, actually the next 3 to 4 months is a good time window. Really talking about the end of the year, maybe a little beyond. We really would like to get to 600 owners within 3 to 4 months. That is another milestone that's been presented to us by the folks we're working at Cooperative Development Services as a kind of a benchmark for co-op our size to say we have financial feasibility from the number of owners who have bought in. So that's kind of key to the business plan. Once we have that, we'll actually be able to, with some more confidence, take the numbers that we've developed as part of we have a committee that's working on developing a pro forma, which is essentially a document laying out the financial feasibility. How much debt could this endeavor take on? How much sales would we need per square foot in order to support that debt? And that piece is central to building a business plan that we can take along with our 600 owners to banks and co-ops in the area to say, okay, we need to start talking about how to leverage our ownership to get other capital from the community in order to, seriously talk to landowners, landlords, or site owners about negotiating for a site. So once we hit that 600 mark, we'll really enter into a new phase of we're on the cusp where we'll actually be able to talk about sites, like with some confidence that we can openly start inquiring about sites because we have this kind of financial foundation built. That's our next big milestone that way.
So, Chris, as start taking on this endeavor, it's a huge challenge, and I'm sort of curious in terms of other food co-ops and cooperation amongst cooperatives. Have you found other co-ops in the region to be supportive, and if so, how?
Yeah, that principle of cooperatives cooperating with other cooperatives has been central to our success thus far. We got a grant from the Hunger Mountain Food Co-op early on that allowed us to, in addition to money that we raised from the community, qualify for a matching grant from the Food Cooperative Initiative, which is an endeavor that's funded by food co-ops to help new co-ops start up. And with that money, we've been able to work with Cooperative Development Services, which is a cooperative of cooperative consultants who help co-ops not only open, but also to help them, develop more robust governance, address issues in their stores, and that's just sort of the formal ways. We're part of the neighboring Food Co-op Association, and people are just really supportive in terms of offering us their experience. We've had presentations from the general manager at Hanover Co-op. We've talked a lot with the folks at the Monadnock Food Co-op that just opened last fall in Keene. And people are, co-ops are whatever you need, let us know in terms of information sharing. And like I said, with Hunger Mountain Co-op, hard money. And then the whole movement as a whole providing funding for startups has just been great.
That's great to hear. So I know you've got a run, but before you do, do you have any other kind of things people should know about the project or how to get involved?
Sure. If you'd like to get involved, I really encourage you to go to our website, granitecitygrocery.coop. That's where you can find our latest news and information. It's also where you can sign up for the newsletter. And if you want to become an owner, you can complete that application online or download one. And also find us on Facebook, Granite City Grocery. So facebook.com/Granite City Grocery is another great place to just follow what we're doing. And if you have any questions, you can email me directly, cmriddell@gmail.com. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm on the board currently, and I'm going to be running this fall. So that's what I would encourage people to do if you want more information, any of those sources.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for calling in and giving us the update.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Eric. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.